Hello there, good evening and welcome to Political Lens on Voice of the People Television, VOPTV. We are broadcasting on Metro SLTV channel 264. And on YouTube, we are at VOPTV Live. That's and also on other social media handles, talk about Facebook, Instagram, X, and all of that. Like I said, I am Chukwuma Okoro, and this evening we are looking at the proposed trip by the FCT Minister, Wike, his works counterpart, Dave Umahi, and others to London to showcase the scorecard of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2 years. And when we move away from that, we'll talk about the attacks on military formations in northeast parts of Nigeria. Well, we are joined by Mr. Dele Fanimo here in our Lagos studio to make sense of all these topics. Now, Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Good evening, Dele Fanimo, and thanks for coming.
Good evening.
It's always a
pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your presence.
At least we have to show concern about the development of this country.
Yes.
Nobody else can do it for us. Even if you go
much
to anywhere in the world, home is still home.
Thank you very much. Now, there's a lot to talk about. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and other senior government officials are set to present the Bola Tinubu administration's achievements at an international press conference in London. While speaking at a briefing in Abuja on Tuesday, Project Internal Coordinator of the President Bola Tinubu Midterm Legacy Projects Review Committee, Bode Adeyemi, said the event will serve as a platform for ministers, heads of departments, and agency leaders to highlight the administration's major accomplishments over the past 2 years. The event, scheduled for Friday, June 27, 2025, will also feature the official launch of a compendium and website cataloging legacy projects undertaken by the administration since it assumed office. Adeyemi said President Bola Tinubu's government has made unprecedented achievements within 24 months, despite numerous challenges, including global economic headwinds. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and other senior government officials are set to present the Bola Tinubu administration's achievement and at an international press conference in London. The event is scheduled to. Adeyemi added, we have painstakingly documented these milestones, and it is only fitting that we present this verifiable success story to both Nigerians and the international community. All the projects have been compiled into a comprehensive compendium with a digital version to be launched during the event. We commend the honorable ministers, directors general, and heads of agencies for their relentless efforts in driving this progress. Among the key officials expected to speak at the London event are Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Gbenga Komolafe, Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Usman Osidi, and Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zekios Adedeji. Also speaking at the Abuja conference briefing, Chairman of the APC UK chapter, Tunde Rahati, described the London conference as a strategic initiative to counter misinformation and present a true picture of governance in Nigeria under Tinubu. He said the Tinubu administration has made significant strides in infrastructure, economic reform, national security, healthcare, aviation, and the digital economy. The fact that both public and private refineries have commenced production under this administration is a landmark achievement. Other milestones include the push for local government autonomy, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, repayment of IMF debts, fuel subsidy removal, which has doubled allocations to states, the enforcement of the rule of law, and improved national security. Well, Rahati added that the international community will have the opportunity to assess firsthand the progress Nigeria has made, as told by those directly overseeing the project. Mr. Fanimo, you heard it loud and clear. Now, this is coming from the government sources that, look, they have planned a press conference in London to showcase the success of this administration. This administration will be 2 years on the 29th of May, 2025. But the proposed conference is going to hold sometime in June, I think June 27, to showcase and highlight all that the government has done within the past 2 years. Now, in all of this, the question will be, why is it that...
Why is it UK?
Why is UK? Why is it UK? Exactly the point. Why is it UK? Does it look like Nigerians, we don't even understand? Is it that Nigerians are already in the know that this government has made progress? Why ship the international conference from Lagos here to UK? Are there any specific gains you are aware that will accrue to Nigeria from this trip, where 5 ministers and probably their aides will take a trip down to London just to showcase the achievements of the president?
Well, the inimitable musical icon, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, in one of his songs said, "Kolo mentality." What you have just witnessed is the Kolo mentality in the average mind and brain of Africans. It didn't just start today. You also have to ask yourself, why would presidential candidates fall heads over heels to go to Chatham House to campaign as part of build-up to election in Nigeria? Are the voters in Chatham House? It's the same thing that these people are doing. There are so many factors embedded in this kind of trip.
Okay.
One, I've not seen international media beaming their searchlight on Nigeria as far as achievements or gains of a government the government of the day to warrant a trip back to their domain to explain to. I was expecting if anybody would think about selling Nigeria outside the shores of this country, they should be thinking of America, where IMF is, where World Bank is, and some other Brentwood institutions that are going back and forth. Today, Nigeria's economy has dipped. And tomorrow, it has made progress. Today, it will take 15 years for us to get out of the woods. Tomorrow, it will take 35 years to get out of the woods. The number of people that are in poverty, at poverty level, multidimensional and all that. These institutions are mainly from America. And now, they are not willing to go to America. Why UK? Apart from BBC, that beams its network to Africa and Nigeria especially, which other media organization in UK has made Nigeria as its centerpiece of information dissemination that we want to go and showcase our achievement to, so that they can beam back what you are saying? Now, it just simply, what is going to happen there is, they have just mentioned 4 ministers. Okay. They won't mention the number of directors and permanent secretaries.
They also said heads of agencies.
I'm telling you, that are going to, then political stalwarts that want to partake of the largesse of Esther Code and per diem that will follow. And these people, they are not likely to stay in inns or small hotels. They are likely to stay in 5-star hotels at government expenses. So for that trip, where they are going for a jamboree and telling whoever they want to tell the story of Nigeria that is so bereft of information that he doesn't know what goes on in Nigeria, at the end of the day, you might just end up that for this trip, you might be hearing of 15 billion, 20 billion
naira.
Okay. Because some of these ministers will not fly less than first class.
Okay, business class.
They are not going to fly economy. Even the least person on this trip will not fly economy.
Class. Okay.
They're going to fly business.
Economy and all of that.
You know, and they may even, because of the large crowd, they may decide to hire a charter flight of Boeing 77 make, so that they can accommodate all of them in one fell swoop. So what we are saying is, in the midst of deprivation, in the midst of poverty, in the midst of infrastructure gap, in the midst of low power output, and in the midst of myriad of problems, the only thing that our ministers can think of is to pack their bags and go and stay in one cozy hotel in UK and begin to tell what you ordinarily should have told
Okay.
Nigerians here.
All right. Then I like the talking points that you raised about the cost implication of
Yes.
this press conference in London. Before we talk about that, there was also another issue you raised, which you have not answered, and probably I want us to interrogate it further. Why London?
I have said it. It's neocolonialism and the colonial mentality that Fela sang about.
Okay.
That we feel that anything that is within this country is inferior. The same mindset of a businessman.
I heard all of that, but what I'm saying is this: is it the British people
that instigated
or is it
this?
the international community? No, this thing is done on the auspices of APC UK. They are the ones behind it. So more like it's a political thing. It's purely political.
Of course.
Now the question is: the people in the UK, are they the ones to convince Nigerians now? Or is it that Nigerians at home are already convinced, or,
and then so they want to,
or is it difficult for the government to convince Nigerians here at home that this government has made progress, that
so they have to take it to UK?
So it's either they have convinced us, they have conquered us, or they have not succeeded in doing that. So they want to bring our kids and kin in the UK to come and convince us, to tell us. So exactly what is it?
You see, the point is, if we are locating it within the precinct of politics.
Okay.
Now, what is the gain expected from this trip? We have not signed into law. In fact, the bill is still in the National Assembly for diaspora voting. So, whoever is in UK, how many of them can afford to fly back to Nigeria in 2027 to come and exercise his or her franchise? How many of them have registered before now to vote? And what is the number of Nigerians in UK that they want to spend so much to convince? These are people that are exposed to channels in Nigeria. Every channel, like our own channel, they are also exposed to our own channel. We get responses from them. We get calls from them.
Exactly.
So, what is hidden to them that you are taking it to them? I don't know.
Okay. Now, I like the fact that this is going to happen in the UK. Like I said, it's in collaboration with the APC UK. If you talk about the diaspora community, this morning we read in the news that there are about 20 million Nigerians
outside the country.
Now, do you see this exercise probably taking place in the United States after this one, and probably in Canada, or maybe South Africa,
or Saudi Arabia,
where you have millions of Nigerians living? So do you anticipate that it's going to be a broad-based thing, so that not just convincing those in the UK, you have to go to the US and Canada and other parts of the world? Is it likely to happen?
You see, it's just a jamboree of sorts. There is no way you want to convince me that this is a necessity at this time, because whatever they are spending on this trip, there is something that needs that money in this country as at now. If they are going to spend let's be modest. Let's assume that they are going to spend like 3 billion on this trip. Now, you know that if you deploy 3 billion consumables to primary health care centers in Abia, the next 2 years, the drugs will not be expired. 2, accessibility to health care will not suffer. Doctors will have solar power equipment to energize their refrigerators that would keep all those reagents active. Now, just a few Nigerians are going to enjoy luxury on our tax that we gave involuntarily for us to have better life. Now, that better life is now roving around just a few Nigerians. That what has Tunji Ojo done in Nigeria that we have not seen, and is now going to showcase abroad. Yes, he has done well in the Interior Ministry. At least when you talk about passport issues, he has been able to solve it and some other issues. But a lot needs to be done in the area of our correctional centers and even immigration. Our border is still very porous. So what is it going to, and what is the level of understanding of the dynamics of Nigerian state? So somebody who has spent his useful and youthful lives in UK, who probably had not come to Nigeria in the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, what is the likelihood of him understanding what is going on in Nigeria today, that he will have questions to ask these people while they are holding this press conference? Because what you do when you address a press conference is to elicit feedback, and that feedback will be accelerated and accentuated by the right questions that people will ask at that forum. How many of the Nigerians that are in diaspora have that direct link to Nigeria? Because some of them, they don't even know how deep seated our poverty level is today. They assume that once, and the only thing that we have not been able to witness mass burial in Nigeria without war is because of communal relationship in Africa and in Nigeria.
Okay.
Because these people in diaspora, once in a while, uncles, brothers, mothers, fathers call on them and they show solidarity, send money to them. That's why Nigeria is still stable as it is.
Okay, now speaking at the Abuja press briefing, you know, the APC UK chapter, chairman of the APC UK chapter, you know, said that they described the London conference as a strategic initiative to counter misinformation and present a true picture of governance in Nigeria under Tinubu. So is it in London now that
you now
a true picture? And when they say counter the misinformation, do we see maybe another track to this where probably a big PR firm is employed to clean up?
You see what they are essentially saying, unbeknown to them, is that the true picture cannot be told here because we already know the true picture. You can sway somebody in UK that everything they said about your country, there is no truth in any of those things, because the poverty level is being hiked. And when they take pictures of Ikoyi, Lekki, Maitama, Asokoro, and the rest, when they take it to London, of course, that's what they will show them. And then they begin to ask questions. You say Nigerians are not, and then when you go to, if you move around certain areas in Lagos today, you hardly see fairly used vehicles, except the one that strays from mainland to the island. But in those places, you can't go to Banana Island now, except visitors that will bring fairly used car to see somebody inside Banana Island. Most cars are new. So if you are now taking those videos to them, and then they will now begin to ask, but you say you are suffering in Nigeria. I can't see any sign of suffering here. That's what they want to go and tell them. Okay. Are you going to tell me that prisoners are not like working cops in the correctional centers? What are you going to tell me about Boko Haram, ISWAP, Lukarawa, and the rest assailing security in Nigeria? Are you going to tell me that it never happened? Or the herdsmen that are killing, maiming, and raping in people's farms? Are you going to tell me that it never happened? So they can afford to go there, spend our resources, go on Jamboree, tell whatever lies they want to tell, because there is no way those ones would understand what we are facing in Nigeria for them to interrogate all the narratives they are going to push to these people. But we are waiting. After all, they should be magnanimous enough to show us this press conference. Let's see how it will go. And then you will still come back and face us. We, the local media, because now every media organization in Nigeria is now local media. It is only those ones over there that is international media. It would have been better if they had gone to US to showcase some of these things and not UK. For God's sake, if not for Africa, that is the cash cow. A country like UK should not be competing with Nigeria in terms of our natural endowment. In terms the one of the first set of 10 best doctors in UK, 7 of them are Nigerians. In terms of intellectual capacity, UK is not faring better. Britons are not faring better. So why must we go to UK to tell our story? It is bad enough that history today that we call our history were not written by us. They were written by these people. And those narratives were skewed towards their own benefit, not the benefit of Nigerians or Africans. And that's why some of these young men in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger are rewriting those histories and saying, look, we can't continue in this route because we know that it is our resources that we sit on to make things. What are the natural resources to get in Britain? Okay, maybe coal in Newcastle.
Okay. Now, I understand. The other week, if you listen carefully, you heard what Daniel Bwala said, that, look, anybody who doesn't see the achievements of this president is either deaf, dumb, or blind. And 3 days after he said that, the minister of the FCT, Wike, repeated that same thing. So does it look like Nigerians are deaf, dumb, and blind? And do you think that's why they want to go to UK? You know, to tell Nigerians
those who are not deaf and blind,
who are not deaf and dumb and blind, because a lot of people, you know, someone asked me. In addition to that, someone asked me the other day, and I want to ask you that question: with the way our presidents visit, from Buhari visit Europe, France, UK, and someone asked me, and probably let me ask you so that you can help us understand: is there a possibility that before the end of this administration, or perhaps the president continues by 2027, is it possible that we have the Aso Rock Annex maybe somewhere in London?
In France, particularly.
Or in France.
Because the president had visited France more than any other country.
Is it possible that we could have that? And what do you think would be the implication of that?
Well, in structure, there may not be an annex of Aso Rock, but in abstract, already they are establishing it. If 4
or 5
ministers,
heads of agencies,
and agencies heads are moving to, for that period, for about a week during that period, governance is held abeyance in those ministry, departments, and agencies. Because the chief executive of those places, if they are not around, nothing works, nothing goes on. The permanent secretary would also follow. And then when the permanent secretary is away, the minister is away, who signs documents, who interprets documents. So they would have to keep those files until they come back. And you see, until we begin to quantify losses and place it side by side what those losses meant or means to the average Nigerians, maybe that's when we begin to understand why we don't have to engage and embark on this kind of frivolous trips. Because for me, the money they're going to spend there may end up may not even be commensurate with the loss that Nigeria would incur when they are away attending to this kind of press conference that is just chasing shadows.
Okay, then let's assume that this is some form of rascality. Do you think there's a way Nigerians could hold this government to account? Is there a way Nigerians can say, look, stop this conference in the UK? Is there a way Nigerians can stop it?
In a Senate climb, you could talk to the National Assembly, the various constituents. We have 109 senators.
Okay.
And so they all came from constituencies. We have 360 House of Reps members. They all came from various constituencies. But do they have any linkage to their constituency? Some of these people in Abuja today, I can bet you until 2027, they may not visit their constituency. And at that time, they would have saved enough to buy bags of rice, buy Okada, buy tricycle, buy generator, buy hairdressing equipment, buy barbing equipment to distribute for them to have another time. Now, in a saner society, the House of Rep members by now should be receiving calls from their constituents in their various constituencies that, look, stop this executive rascality. This thing, we don't need it. The money you are supposed to spend on this frivolous trip, we can make do with it to even buy equipment. We can even do it to improve on the existing infrastructure in our universities. So why go on this trip? Then the House of Representatives, somebody will raise that motion of national importance, and then it will be tabled on the floor of the House. If the House and the Senate decide to say no, then that trip will be aborted. But unfortunately, we have a National Assembly that is rubber stamp National Assembly, that is a stooge, that is invested with people with bags, that they don't want anything to rock the boat for them. So it is a done deal, because we have a legislative arm that is tied to the apron string of the executive. So we are not going to get anywhere stopping these people from going on this trip. They are even magnanimous to us by announcing about a month to the day of the event. What if they keep it within themselves and 3 days to the event, or they just bring the video and distribute to national television and say, please help us air it and pay for airtime 1 hour? Are you going to tell them to roll back the hand of the clock? Okay. It's as bad as that. Okay. We are helpless. We are helpless. Yes. Indeed.
Quite unfortunate.
It's quite unfortunate.
Before we move on to the next topic of discussion, let us let's call this administration some slacks. In the 2 years that I have been in government, in office, are there tangible achievements that you think, progress that this administration has made? Highlight any of them that you just know, that you understand, like one or two. You see, in terms of policy initiatives,
yeah.
In terms of infrastructure development, and the direction that they are headed.
For me, the tax reforms,
okay,
is a thumb up. Local government autonomy, if it says true, is a thumb up. State police, thumb up. And then I've not seen much of infrastructural development to give them a thumb up. And then sectorally, health is still not okay. Education is still in doldrum. And well, there are some tangible achievements. For instance, the Works Minister, okay, is making efforts. We can see him doing certain things.
You also mentioned Olubimi
about immigration issues as regards passport issues and all that. So it's not as if it's totally a bad
Okay, so
government.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate this administration?
As it is today, barring the macro and microeconomic indices they are giving, which is their prerogative to give, I would rather score them maybe 4.
Okay, 4. Because Nigerians are still alive.
Yes, at least. And we still have some people repatriating money to us to make us feel good.
All right.
Those who are able to make such opportunity happen.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zelefani. Now we'll go for a short break. And when we return, we'll look into the military attack, the attack on military bases in parts of the Northeast. Join us again.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. a unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
All right, and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is Political Lens on Voice of the People Television. Suspected Boko Haram terrorists have attacked a Nigerian army base in Mate local government area of Borno State, killing an unspecified number of soldiers. Local and security sources confirmed the attack, stating that it occurred around 3 a.m. on Monday at the forward operating base of the 153 Task Force Battalion. Media reports monitors says that Mate, situated in the northern part of Borno State, has remained a subject of interest to terrorists since the early days of Boko Haram. In the latest attack, one of the sources who requested anonymity said the troops were overpowered with some soldiers captured during the assault. An unknown number of soldiers were killed, some were captured, and many fled. They ran towards Dikwa and are now at 24 Task Force Brigade in Dikwa. The terrorists also burned down armored tanks and carted away arms and ammunition from the base, the source said. Mate is located at 8 kilometers from Dikwa, the headquarters of Dikwa local government area in Borno State. A resident in Dikwa told our correspondent that told journalists that gunfire was heard and a Nigerian Air Force fighter jet was seen hovering over the area. We heard that reinforcements arrived in Mate, including hunters and members of the civilian joint task force, and the base has now been retaken by the troops. Now, this is coming from one source who has pleaded anonymity. However, the arms store was looted and set ablaze, and operational vehicles were destroyed, he added. Sources also say that hundreds of residents in the town, located on the fringes of Lake Chad, have fled to Dikwa for safety. Unfortunately, the soldiers have trapped thousands of residents, mostly women and children, in New Marte. It wasn't long ago that Malam Fatori military base was attacked, where one of our commanders and 21 soldiers paid the supreme price, a soldier said. Since January, several military formations have been attacked by terrorists in the Lake Chad region and the Mandara Hills in the Sambisa forest areas of Borno and Yobe states. Recall that after President Goodluck Jonathan declared a state of emergency in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa states in 2013, the Nigerian troops recaptured Krenoa, New Mate, and the Hausari from Boko Haram. Before then, the terrorists had launched countless attacks on the civilian population, military formations, and other symbols of authority. At the height of the emergency rule, the recapture of Mate was the first major success recorded by the military, and to prove to the world that Nigeria was winning the war, foreign and senior journalists were airlifted from Abuja to Maiduguri at a time when Borno was a no-fly zone, while the pressmen then were transported to Mate to see how Boko Haram enclave in the outskirts of Krenoa near Cameroon border was destroyed. But by the middle of 2014, Boko Haram attacked several villages in Mate local government area, resulting in casualties and destruction, but were unable to take absolute control of the area, considering that there was strong collaboration between the Nigerian troops and their Cameroonian counterparts. In August 2016, the Borno State government insisted that Mate was still not fully cleared of insurgents, contrary to earlier military claims. In January 2021, fighters of the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP, who have been trading ownership of the large swaths of the lake area with the Boko Haram fighters, loyal to the late Abubakar Shekau, overran a military base in Mate, killing 7 soldiers and seizing weapons. And in March 2021, after coordinated attacks in Marte and Dikwa, 101 Nigerian soldiers were declared missing or as deserters. The Nigerian army declared that 12 officers and 86 soldiers were missing in the wake of the attacks. A signal dated March 1, 2021 from Operation Lafayette Dole headquarters in Maiduguri, cited by journalists, showed that the soldiers were declared as deserters, indicated that 3 majors, 3 captains, 6 lieutenants, 3 sergeants and 89 soldiers fled in the aftermath of the attack on Mate and Derekwea. Now, in October 2024, Boko Haram ambushed a military convoy along the Dukwa New Mate Road, killing 2 soldiers and several vigilantes. In all of this, many residents in areas attacked by terrorists, where the military was dislodged from various formations around Lake Chad and the Mandara Hills in the Sambisa Forest, have expressed concerns over what they described as laxity in military operations. One of the locals, a vigilante, claimed that the military no longer takes the fight to terrorists enclaves. Meanwhile, troops of the Nigerian Army and Nigerian Air Force have repelled an attack by suspected ISWAP terrorists on a forward operation base in Ran Kalga Kalabage local government area of Borno State. Now, this is this morning, Wednesday morning. According to Zagazola Makama, a counter-insurgency publication covering the Lake Chad region, the incident occurred on Wednesday, this morning, when the terrorists, disguised as Fulani headsmen, launched an attack on the military base. Makama said the troops engaged the attackers in a fierce gun battle, prompting the intervention of a Nigerian Air Force fighter jet, which arrived at the scene during the attack. The publication noted that on sighting the air troops, the terrorists attempted to flee in different directions to avoid attack. Makama said the Nigerian Air Force pilot tracked and engaged a group of fleeing terrorists escaping in a Hilux trucks, killing several of them and destroying the vehicle. He also noted that the number of casualties on the side of the terrorists was yet to be confirmed, adding that it has been restored to the area, peace has been restored to the area following intervention by the military. Well, on Tuesday, that's yesterday, Boko Haram fighters reportedly killed at least 5 soldiers during attacks on military bases in Borno State. That's a lot. That's a lot. We are still battling with terrorism. Look at what happened the other day in Borno, where a military formation was attacked and soldiers killed.
And overrun.
Many Nigerians are asking, and overrun. This is not the first time. Not just in the northeast, in the northwest. Many Nigerians are asking, in all of this, why do we continue to rehabilitate people that are known killers, terrorists? Because we have said almost practically everything we can't say about this. Soldiers have been killed, ammunition stolen, destroyed, like we had yesterday in parts of Borno State. And in all of this, just 3 weeks ago, the Chief of Defense Staff came to tell us that more than 3,000 repentant Boko Haram terrorists have been reintegrated to society. What is our level? Can you measure our sincerity, the level of sincerity of the Nigerian state in fighting terrorism? With everything that you understand, since this fight started in 2002, you have been in the field of journalism for as long as that. What do you understand? Can you measure the sincerity of this government and previous governments in trying to fight insecurity?
You see, when you allow crisis to fester, it becomes hydra-headed, that you don't even know where to begin. You see, I was in Borno when this issue of Boko Haram started. Then it was this man, Modu Sheriff. Is it Modu Sheriff?
Ali Modu Sheriff, yes.
Ali Modu Sheriff that was...
Gas.
Yes, it was there. You know, we went as far as the border between Nigeria and Niger. And we went to that forest. And let's not go too deep into the history of how this thing started. But one thing that is very clear is that it is very difficult to even hazard a guess as to why there is laxity on the part of government. DSS, when Yusuf was in government under Sheriff, Ali Modu Sheriff, he was Commissioner for Religious Affairs. He asked for a large swath of land that he wants to be teaching his followers, Islamic tenets and all that. And he was given this large swath of land in Borno. And after a while, the DSS infiltrated that particular place and discovered that rather than teach Islam, they were teaching these people combat exercise, how to shoot, how to defend themselves. They were teaching them karate, they are teaching them kung fu, they are teaching them a lot of things. And the DSS wrote 11 reports at different times to the state governor. He sat on it, nothing was done about it. And then these people launched out of that forest.
Why didn't the DSS submit that report to their DG or probably to the National Security Advisor?
Of course, for them to have submitted to the governor, there will be a copy to the Director General in Abuja. They won't even write a report without sending a copy to their DG. The director in Borno will send a copy to their DG. It is the responsibility of the DG to escalate it to the National Security Advisor, Minister of Defense. You know, and these are people that should sit on this report and then direct service chiefs through the CDS to go and do their intelligence in that place and report back to the authorities. But nothing happened.
Let's, because we are running out of time.
Yes.
Are you saying that this thing festered because of the inaction of government?
Inaction of government.
Exactly,
and it is still the inaction of government that these people are still festering and populating. Now, what is going on now is from a group, you just discover that there is an embryo that will just develop.
More like open source.
You understand? Yes. You see? Now, today, we were contending 10 years ago with Boko Haram. From Boko Haram, ISWAP came in and some other splinter groups. Today, Lakorawa came from the Sahel and found
there is Mamuda in Niger and Kwara State.
Found safe haven. Toji brought his own group and landed in Zamfara. Now, if we have not been able to take care of just one, how are we going to take care of 10?
Within last week, the defense headquarters said that, look, the people that are causing all this mayhem are not even Nigerians. And that was where that statement ended.
Now,
have you heard that the immigration is buckled up? Have you heard that the chief of army staff or anybody, customs, that anybody is looking for non-Nigerians?
You see, when you say that locals are no longer the head or the people that populate these groups, what that means is a war has been declared on Nigeria. The sovereignty of this country is at stake. Then why would federal government not go out in total war against these people? The same way Niger routed Toji and his members that they now found even in Zamfara. Now, I tell you, the same way they repelled this latest onslaught on another barracks. Air Force personnel, nobody fights with ground troops anymore. Nobody. Did you see ground troops facing each other in Russia and Ukraine war? Even Israel and Hamas. What they do is the air attack will come through probably drone, fighter jets. The only job our land troops should do is to clear.
Now, it's just like if you talk about aerial battle, do we have that precision? You understand what has happened like 3 or 4 times where innocent people were caught in the crossfire.
But why were they right on target this time around? They were right on target. The point is, look, if there is no political undertone to this crisis, our military is capable of routing these miscreants.
Okay, you said something that is quite instructive now. The focus has shifted from civilian attack to attack on the military. Do you think it's going to rouse the military to action?
As a matter of fact, let's wait and see what will happen in the next few days. I am sure that because it's just like in our police force, if they snatch any other civilian's car, you may not get it back. But let them snatch the car of a DPO or a commissioner of police in a state. In 24 hours, they will recover that car. What that tells you is, when it is their own, now that they have attacked those formations, I can bet you will see another way of facing this Boko Haram from our military setup anytime from now.
Okay, now with the emphasis has shifted in terms of the tracks of fighting terrorism, you have also been upbeat about the fact that look, we need community efforts, community alliance in all of
Yes.
this. How much of that can help in fighting this, given that these people are armed with sophisticated weapons? Is there anything community people can do? Is it in terms of intelligence?
It's in terms of intelligence. Okay. For instance, if somebody attacks you in your house, the first thing a policeman will do is to ask you for description. The people that came, how many of them? You say 5. How many of them were armed? You say 3. What type of arm? You say AK-47, then gun, or anything. And then by the time they begin to ask you those questions, they are gathering intelligence to know if there is a group with similar modus operandi. So it is you that will supply the information. These people, they are not angels that will know what is happening in your community. You should be ready to give information as to the way these people had operated, so that you now be able to track them from. They didn't come from heaven. We have not heard that parachutes drop attackers, herdsmen in communities and come back to pick them. So they must have come through a particular route, and those routes, how were they able to pass through those routes? Because when they come with motorbikes, and so, and when you are riding through a community to another community, there will be hail of dust to attract those people in that community that this is not the usual Okada that plies our road. When you see motorbikes that are numbering over 50 or 30 at the same time moving towards a direction, something will tell you that this is not the normal bike rider that is going. And you see 3 people on each of these bikes armed. You raise alarm.
Okay, so you think the community people can do
they can do a lot for these security people. They can do a lot because okay. they need their support.
Okay, now as we coast home, we are out of time. Can we have your concluding thoughts on the 2 topics that we talked about, the London press conference and the fight against insecurity?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we don't have the wherewithal to stop these shenanigans. But I know that one day there will be a day of reckoning.
Okay.
It won't go like this forever, because state actors should be mindful of the fact that out of the pains, sweat, and blood of some people, this money come to the coffers of the states, and then they don't have any reason whatsoever to squander it the way they like. Then 2, let our political actors allow the military to do the job they are paid to do. Let them allow these soldiers who had laid down their lives. The fact that you lay down your life does not mean that you want to die cheaply. Because what happened in that barrack was cheap death. Because you didn't allow these people. You will be surprised that if you go deeper, these people may have sensed through intelligence that these guys are likely to come. But in the military, you don't act on your own impulse, on your own volition. It has to be a direct command or order from a superior authority. And so now, like they say, the rest is history. Okay. And those people are gone and gone forever. Killed in cold blood, without any opportunity to at least put up a fight. It's so sad.
So sad indeed.
So sad.
And unfortunately, this is where we wrap up the show. Big thanks to you, Mr. Dele Fanimo, seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. We appreciate your presence on Political Lens. Thank you very much. Okay, on behalf of the backroom staff, I am Chukuma Okoro. Up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo High. Stay with us and don't go away.